Now, one of the most popular mistakes that cruisers will make when cruising to Alaska for the first time, and that's overpacking. And that's the mistake that I made. And I actually made the mistake of not bringing my packing cubes. So tip, to make sure that you don't overpack, pack in packing cubes. This will really help to make sure that what you can fit in those packing cubes in your suitcase will really help to make sure that you don't overpack. Yes, I did overpack and I didn't pack my packing cubes, but I actually packed way too many cold items. The weather is warmer in July and the first part of August. And of course, I'm thinking, it's Alaska, it's cold, there's snow-capped mountains everywhere. So I wanted to pack as many cold items as I could. I even wanted to pack my snow boots. No, don't pack snow boots. You don't need snow boots in Alaska in July. Now, I know you've heard it so many times, pack in layers, pack in layers. You need to pack in layers. So yes, I did bring layers, but I brought too many layers. Well, the weather is around 50 degrees. And it can even get up to 80 degrees. We had an 83-degree day one day in Skagway. So expect a good temperature change from the early morning time all the way up into the afternoon. So basically for a week, I would have been fine if I packed a couple of t-shirts, a couple of light long sleeve shirts, and just a light jacket. I had my light jacket that I wore most of the time with my t-shirts. I did not need any heavy sweaters. I did bring a pair of thermal leggings. I only wore those like early in the morning one time just to go out and watch the fjords one morning, because it does get a little chilly when you're out in Tracy Arm Fjord or Endicott Arm. If you are somebody who does get cold easily, then that might be for you. So definitely bring something that can help keep you warm, but just know that it will get warmer in the afternoon. Now, something I did not expect, because it does get warmer, I didn't expect to be able to wear a pair of shorts in July in Alaska. Only reason I had shorts in my suitcase was because we flew from Florida to Seattle, but we wanted to break up our flight a little bit, so we stopped off for a night in Vegas. It's 115 degrees in July in Vegas, so I had a pair of shorts with me. So that's the only reason I had shorts with me. I wouldn't have thought to bring shorts. I was, like I said, I had cold in my mind and snow, and I just wasn't thinking that I was going to need a pair of shorts. So bring a pair of shorts, and yes, I even walked around Skagway one day, and a pair of flip-flops. Also, a pair of flip-flops is also great to bring if you're wanting to go to the pool or if you're even wanting to go to the spa. That also reminds me to tell you to bring a swimsuit. Only reason, again, I had a swimsuit was because I was in Vegas. I would not have thought to bring a swimsuit to Alaska. Now, I didn't do any swimming while I was in Alaska, but I did while I was on the cruise ship. And I even did when I went to the spa in their thermal spa area. Now, you can expect to see less crowds around a swimming pool when you're on an Alaskan cruise compared to when you're on a Caribbean cruise. Something else I made a mistake on that I packed was really dressy clothes for formal night. It's not really needed. I was pretty overdressed compared to most of everybody on the ship. Formal night on an Alaskan cruise are pretty casual, so expect to see a pretty casual atmosphere. Formal night is usually after a long day at the port, so I even saw people wearing the same thing they were wearing at the port that afternoon. So just expect a casual vibe on formal night. And one of the things that I saw a lot of on the cruise ship that people were wearing were flannel button-ups. That's a great, thing to have, because you can have that as a layer, and if it gets too hot, you can take it off and just kind of tie it around your waist. I did that several times, even on one of our shore excursions. It is chilly first thing in the morning, and I was always out every Monday morning, because that's when we went through Tracy Arm Fjord, so that I could go and see the glaciers. And it was around 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning that we were headed through the fjord, and it is cold. Now, a lot of times when I'm walking outside and walking around the deck, I usually just have my hands in my pocket in my jacket. When I'm out there, I'm actually out there taking pictures or videos, and your fingers start getting really cold, and then you really start noticing how chilly it is. So I wish I had brought a pair of gloves. So definitely make sure you bring a pair of gloves. And I recommend, and what I've got on my list now, is tech gloves, because that would be so much easier, so you can just continue to take pictures or use your phone, and you don't have to worry about your fingers getting cold. Now, I know it's said that you should bring layers, and you should also make sure that you're bringing waterproof pants, waterproof shoes, ponchos, waterproof jackets, because it will rain while you are in Alaska, or it is a very strong possibility possibility. Now, like I said, I was there for a whole month, so that meant I had 5 days in Juneau, 5 days in Skagway, and Ketchikan. And I did go to Haines one day as well. So 5 days in Juneau and Skagway. Over a month's period, I got pretty lucky and it didn't really rain on me too much. It was a little bit of drizzle one morning when we came into Juneau, and then Ketchikan, it did drizzle on us while we were out walking around. To be honest, I was good wearing just a regular little Columbia jacket is what I have with a hood. I was good with that. That was more than fine for me. I wasn't going to carry an umbrella because I don't like to have a lot of stuff on me and carry things around. Some people did, so that's up to you. But definitely make sure that you are planning for a little bit of rain, because the average rainfall in July is around 14 days in Juneau. And it is average that you will see a little bit more rain in Ketchikan than you will in Juneau. So like I said, we just ended up getting lucky that we didn't really see a whole lot of rain. Now, something I did bring, I didn't make the mistake of, but I do want to let you know and have that expectation, is that July and in the summertime does have some of the longer days in Alaska. Now, June 20th and 21st are the solstice days where you will see the longest day. But even when we were there in July, we did have a sunset around 11 o'clock and you could still have the glow of the sun at midnight. That really threw off my sleeping schedule. And I wasn't expecting that. I didn't know that. Definitely keep that in mind, because I'm sitting here thinking it's like 9 o'clock at night. No, it's midnight. So it really threw off my sleeping schedule, and a lot of times the sun was up and bright around 4 a.m. in the morning. I am not an early morning person, so that threw off my sleeping schedule too. So one thing I did bring to help with that was a sleep mask. If you want to make sure that you're getting a little bit more sleep and the sun coming in your room is not going to bother you, definitely make sure you bring a sleep mask to Alaska. Now, like I said earlier, things are open, everything is bustling in July, which also means hiking is more accessible. So if hiking is something you're wanting to do, make sure you have a good pair of sturdy shoes. You probably do want to make sure you're bringing a good pair of water shoes, because it is hilly walking to certain places. We did have to walk up several hills in Juneau when we were trying to get to a hiking trail. Now, the mistake I made was not bringing bug repellent. Once again, I got cold on my mind and I'm thinking of snow and not thinking there's going to be a whole lot of bugs in Alaska. That's not the case. Definitely make sure you bring bug repellent, especially in July and August. Those mosquitoes are, they're everywhere. And I think the flies were even biting too. They were just everywhere. And I could not even go on my hiking trail. I hiked to the hiking trail. But once I got to the hiking trail, I couldn't make it. I had to turn around because there were just too many bugs. So definitely make sure you bring bug repellent. When we got back on the ship, I actually talked to our naturalist about that. And that's another thing when you're on an Alaskan cruise. Most cruise lines do have a naturalist on board that will give you all kinds of information. Definitely go to any of their shows that they may be hosting. Our naturalist, Emily the Naturalist, and she is on the Carnival Luminosa, so shout out to Emily. She is a wonderful naturalist and has so much information. So definitely go see her shows or any of the other naturalist shows that are on your cruise ship. They have so much information, can tell you where to go to see the whales, when to see the whales, where to go to see the salmon when you're in Ketchikan. But I went and talked to her about the bugs and she's like, yeah, there are some mosquitoes out here, so definitely need to make sure you wear your bug repellent. Now, something else, it wasn't really a mistake, I just wasn't really thinking much about it, was the fact that it's really port intensive. Now, I knew I had all these ports that I was going to: Juneau, Ketchikan, Skagway, Tracy Arm Fjord, and Victoria, British Columbia. So if you're cruising out of Seattle or anywhere in America, you are going to go to Victoria, British Columbia. You may only go for just a little bit in the evening, or you may have a whole day. So definitely check with your itinerary to see when you are how long you're going to be there. I did talk to someone on my cruise who really wanted to see Victoria, and so she booked the week that was going to have a full day, so she wasn't there for just a couple hours in the evening. Check out some of my videos of what you can do in Victoria, British Columbia, especially if you're there at night. That was my first time to be at a port in the evening, and there's not a whole lot to do, but there are some things that you can do when you're in Victoria in the evenings. I knew I was going to all these ports, but I just didn't have it in my mind how tired I would be, because not only are you going to all these ports, and some of them are all day long, back on the ship, you just feel like you want to keep watching the whales and you keep watching what's out and about in the ocean, because unlike in a Caribbean cruise, there is always something out in the ocean. And every time somebody would see a whale, people would yell, "There's a whale," and people would run to the window. Even the crew members. And I had one time a crew member was in the middle of making my drink at the Alchemy Bar, and he left the Alchemy Bar and went outside so he could see all the orcas swimming by the ship. So they get as excited as we do. So it's just constantly something going on. So keep that in your mind and try your best to plan for some downtime when you're in Alaska. I know you want to see and do all the things, and it's natural to want to do that, but just plan to try and have a little bit of downtime. Like I said, bring that swimsuit and just lay by the swimming pool if you can. Something else that a lot of cruisers forget to bring are binoculars. Now, I did bring a pair of binoculars. They weren't a very good pair. They were pretty cheap. I'll give you the link in the description below if you want to check them out. But if you forget your binoculars on our cruise, and I did talk to somebody who was on the Ovation of the Seas, they do sell binoculars on board. So you do have that option. If you forget a pair of binoculars, you can buy some when you're there. On our cruise, I did see them. They were around $50 a pair. So I wish I actually brought a better pair of binoculars, because when I was out, we would hear that there were bears out there. There were mountain goats. I couldn't see them very well because my binoculars weren't as good as some of the others. Now, you don't need to go and spend a lot of money on binoculars, but I did get the cheapest pair possible. So my next Alaskan cruise, I will have a better pair of binoculars on my list. So keep that in mind if you want to make sure that you are seeing things like bears and mountain goats that are harder to see if you don't have a good pair of binoculars. Now, something else that I wish I had in my mind. Now, we did book our Alaskan cruise kind of at last minute because we did it through Casino Cruise Offers. You can check out this video here if you want a little bit more information on that. But I wish I had thought about how expensive some of these bucket list shore excursions are. Like I said, this is a bucket list cruise. So you want to make sure you're doing all of your research. You want to make sure that you're planning all of your shore excursions that you want to take. I really wanted to do a helicopter tour and land on the glacier. Some of those are around $600 a person. Now, I did see some that just depending on the type of helicopter tour you were taking, they could be as low as $400. That's still pretty steep, especially if you're going with 2, maybe 3 or 4 people that are in your party. We did not do a helicopter. We did do a whale excursion, but it was a lot of fun, and I do wish that I had known how expensive these shore excursions would be. I would love to go back and do a helicopter excursion. Have you ever done one of those? Leave me a comment, because that's on my bucket list. I would love to do that. Leave me a comment and let me know what you think. Now, something so many people think you're going to see when you go to Alaska. I had this question asked when I came home. "Oh, did you see it?" And I thought I was going to see it. I was ready. I was geared up. And that's the Northern Lights. Yeah, if you're going in July and even in August, you're not going to see the Northern Lights. Most likely, it's not going to happen. The Northern Lights, the best time to see it is really in October. Actually, the worst time to see it is in July. So don't plan on seeing the Northern Lights on your Alaskan cruise if you're going in July. It is a slight possibility, and we were told by our naturalist that we could possibly see it in August. We were hopeful, but it did not happen. Now, we did go to Greenland at the end of August, and we did get a chance to see it in Greenland. And we did hear that in Alaska, they were still not able to have visual of the Northern Lights even at the end of August. So definitely keep that in mind. Now, if you are seeing the Northern Lights or told that the Northern Lights are out there, also be aware that you may not be able to see them with your eye, because I was told that the Northern Lights are out there, and I was like, I don't see anything. I'm not seeing anything. And people were telling me, "Oh, but you can see it through your camera." I started taking pictures, and there they were. So I don't know why that is. I don't know. If you know exactly the science behind it, let me know. I would love to hear that. But yes, you can see it through your camera more so than you can visually. And so I probably have like 100 pictures of the Northern Lights, because I'm just going like this, taking pictures. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? So definitely keep that in mind if you are on the Alaskan cruise and people are saying that it's been spotted, that we have northern lights are visual and you're not able to see them real well. Just see if you can see it through your camera lens. I hope these were helpful tips for you and helping you to plan your perfect bucket list cruise to Alaska. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.